very briefly right now. The elite told me, they said, we are not going to allow the collapse of the financial system of the world, not just the United States of America, whether it be the Euro, America, China, Japan, it matters not. We are not going to allow the crash to take place. And it is going to happen, folks, please. It is going to happen. But they said, not yet. And I said, why? They said, we want to create such massive debt in every nation in the world, every city in America, every county in America, every place, every state. We want to create such massive debt that whenever we finally do decide to, and they are going to, and they know that they're going to do it, and whenever it takes place, they said, we will have caused such massive debt all over the world that we can step in and say, Greece, you have no choice. We bought you. Have you ever wondered why they took 50% loss on the paper that they bought from Greece, their bonds and so on? This is all a part of the plan. They'll step into Greece and say, Greece, you have no choice. Your currency has failed. The only way for you to do is forget about your Constitution, the United States of America. Your dollar is toast. And that you must accept our new world order.
Yeah, they openly put Goldman Sachs alumni in as the appointed prime ministers and presidents in Italy, Greece, you name it. And even in the Financial Times of London, they call it banker dictatorship and say it's a good thing because they're loaning them fiat made-up digits and getting real infrastructure back.
But do you realize what a marvelous, folks, everybody out there, do you realize what a marvelous opportunity and a window of opportunity we have right now to do everything that Alex is talking about in saving America and turning it around? They are shooting themselves in the foot by waiting, but they are intentionally doing it in order to create this massive debt. Then they'll step into the United States of America.
Sure, take the world into global receivership. So tell us what your former oil company executive, known to myself, we're not going to reveal him here because of journalistic standards, what he told you about when they are planning the Iran attack, when they, or if that's on the table, and when they do plan to have the dollar dead.
For the time being, Iran, don't pay any attention to it. Mr. Obama may use it at the very last minute before the election if he has to or wants to. It'd be terribly dangerous for him to. But I don't think from what my elitist friends are indicating, I don't think you'll see anything with Iran and Israel anytime soon. Now, let's go down to the dollar because, as you know, the most sensitive part of anybody's anatomy is the rear pocket. And recently, I'm going to give a name now. I hope you have that pencil and paper ready. You've got to write it down. Just recently, I was put in touch with a Wall Street insider. You may recognize him, Alex, or you can go look him up if you don't. This man was many years on Wall Street as an insider, and he is verifying what my elitists have told me. His name is Tom Fowler,
yes.
F-Y-L-E-R, and he, for years, was considered one of the Wall Street insiders. And what my elitist friends told me and what he said, Lindsey, I've known him for about a year now. They put me in touch with him a while back. And he said, Lindsey, let's compare notes. We compared what he saw on Wall Street on the inside and what I heard from my elitist friends, and we experienced the identical same things, except he got it out of Wall Street, I got it out of my friends. He got so sick of the corruption on Wall Street until he left. You can talk to him personally, by the way. You'll find out how later on if you would. Here's what we came up with, and here's what my elitist friends have told me. Do you want to know when the financial collapse is going to take place, when it will happen? First of all, do not pay any attention to the New York stock market. It is not an indicator of anything.
It's totally rigged. So what did he tell you?
Then you do not pay any attention to the euro. The euro is not an indication either. And as you know, my elitist friend told me you've got 2 to 3 weeks after the euro crashes before you've got to be out of paper or you'll lose it. Don't pay any attention to crude oil prices. There is a word that I hope you know what the meaning of it is, and if you don't, you've got to do a crash course on it immediately. And here is what's just been said, and I'll give you the background to it. Number one, you must write down the word derivatives. don't pay any attention to the stock market, the euro, nor the crude oil prices. The indicator as to when the financial collapse will take place is the derivative market.
Sure, it's when they stop propping those up. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
The derivatives begin to crack.
Yeah, but exactly. And then you were saying they also told you that Obama may not get reelected. Why they think that? I want to get into the Keystone Pipeline and more with Lindsey Williams, our guest. And yes, we'll take a few phone calls for him. I'll give you the number on the other side. Lindsey Williams is our guest for 2 more segments. This is really going quick. And I really wish that this information was not accurate. But undoubtedly, we know a global government's been formed. We know they're devaluing the currency. They're talking about QE3 now, quantitative easing 3, which will really accelerate the devaluation of a currency and increase prices across the board while we have other depressionary factors in the economy. We're going to be discussing that in a moment. I wanted to tell you, Lindsey's got a new documentary presentation. He's put out several over the years, but a new one with all this information codified in it. And you can simply go to prophecyclub.com. That's prophecyclub.com to get it. It's titled Secrets of the Elite. You can order it, I think, right now, but it's not going to be out till later in the week. They just completed it. Or you can give them a call, 888-799-6111. Again, Secrets of the Elite, prophecyclub.com, or 888-799-6111. And I'll double-check that website and email and phone number here with him in just a moment. Okay, going back to Lindsey Williams, just briefly, Lindsey, did I give that number out right, 888-799-6111?
Alex, you're doing a great job. That's exactly right. You're always right.
No, I'm not always right.
Too many of your radio shows.
No.
All the time.
I was just looking at prophecyclub.com, because I know for a decade they've put out your material and stuff, and then I was noticing you have this new film coming out, and I want you to tell us about that in the next segment. We got to move quick now. Let's go over all the points you mentioned right at the front. You said that your former oil company executive source, again, known by me and others in the media, but we're not giving out his name because he wants to be private, is pretty freaked out right now. It looks like things aren't going like the Western elite planned. You have China and India are playing more patty cake with Russia, who they've not gotten along with in the past, and are moving away from the dollar. Again, I mean, kind of give us a hard-boiled date. He's still saying by 2012 you'll see basically the beginning of the end of the dollar. I mean, let's just run through them in rapid fire now, and then get into Keystone. Yes, the dollar will be dead by the end of 2012. Please, you need to understand, Tom Fowler was actually on Wall Street many years ago when the word derivative was used for the first time. Isn't he a writer for the Wall Street Journal? Very well could be. I don't know all of his background, but you'll find him up there when you look him up. And he was told what derivatives were. He was told by his superiors to see to it that they were used. And then only a few weeks, I mean, this testimony is so fabulous, you're going to be amazed. He was told a few weeks later, Tom, don't tell people what they're going to be used for. And he calls them the powers that be. I call them the elite. And one of them came to him and said, Tom, now this was way back many years ago when the word derivative was first used. Nobody had heard it before then. Put him in the dictionary. And they came back to him and they said, Tom, we are going to use derivatives in order to bring down the entire financial system of the world. And this was said nearly 20 years ago. My elitist friend just recently said, Chaplain, don't pay any attention to the stock market, the euro, crude oil prices. None of it means anything. He said, you watch derivatives and you will know exactly when we are going to bring it down. Let me express very quickly how derivative works. I'll try to do this as fast as I can. A guest walked into a hotel. He walked up to the desk in the lobby and put a $100 bill down and said, I'd like to see a room. I'd like to stay here tonight, possibly. As soon as he walked off to look at the room, the hotel owner runs and pays the bakery that he owed $100 to. The bakery goes across the street as fast as he can and pays the bill at the flour mill. The person at the flour mill, the owner, goes immediately and gives that $100 to his mistress, who lives at the hotel. The mistress pays the hotel the $100 on her room rent. Then
then the guest decides he's coming back to the desk, and he says, I don't want to stay in your room. I'm not satisfied. Give me my $100 bill back. Now, that's a very simplified what a derivative is, and if we ever have enough time, I'll give you some pure living examples. What you've got to, folks,
sure, there's 1.5 quadrillion. Our listeners know a lot about derivatives, Lindsey. It's 1.5 quadrillion. It's basically insurance and credit default swaps on other investments. And it's basically counterfeit. It's beyond fractional reserve banking. It's beyond the money changers. It's a total fraud.